Hello bitches, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another draw with me, as you can see, but it will be a lot more simple compared to the other ones I've done. But for those of you who have been following me since the 2010s, we're gonna take a trip down memory lane and revisit some of my old art. So prior to me doing whatever it is I'm doing now, I used to just, like everyone else, post my art on the internet, post my very amateur animations on YouTube, and I had really high, ambitious hopes of making my own animated series and posting it on YouTube one day. So I would make videos announcing that I'm starting this new project, I'm gonna make fake anime openings, and I'm gonna just collab with voice actors and actresses on the internet, all when I'm just like only 13 years old, still a full-time student, and not even getting paid to do any of this shit, yet somehow I believed I was gonna make this possible. So now in 2020, as you can see, I never followed through with any of those projects. I'm so sorry to any of you who actually look forward to them. I'm pretty sure I did too back in the good old days when I really was excited about those projects, but now that I'm older, I'm really glad I didn't follow through with any of them because, you know, I was just a kid back then. The ideas I had back then were probably okay, but I mean, I would cringe a shit ton if I saw them now. So by the title of this video, when I say why you don't get your shit done, I'm really saying why didn't I get my shit done, or why don't I get my shit done, mostly referring to myself in the past because, you know, as I became an adult, after the years have passed, I've become at least slightly more responsible. But for any of you who might relate to that feeling of why you can't seem to ever manage finishing these really cool projects or concept ideas you have in your head, this video is kind of more explaining why, but of course everybody is different. This isn't going to apply to everyone, but hopefully it will help someone that might relate to why at least I never got my stuff done in the past. So just for some context, the drawings I'm going to be doing today are based off of these old characters that I did with my friends back in high school. We had this really ambitious idea of creating these characters in a very sci-fi fantasy dystopian society, and we were like, it's gonna be so badass. But of course, being 14, 15-year-olds, we had no concept of what it's like to have a structured pipeline to develop an animated series, or just a sense of how much work it actually takes to get something done. So these drawings are actually based off of pre-existing drawings I did on my DeviantArt. I know my rendering skills back then might actually be much better than how I would render my drawings today, meaning the way I color it, texture it, shade it, but I would say that some things that I feel like I improved on is just giving my characters more life when drawing them. Like, I feel like back then I was just really great at executing drawings. I felt like I was able to shade, color, and compose stuff well, but then the true challenge after I went to art school and studied character animation was really bringing characters to life, giving them personalities, making sure that they're not just a character that's just standing there and doing nothing and smiling, or at least there's just some more personality behind the drawing instead of just having a cool thing that just looks cool and that's it. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but also getting back to the main point of this, back then when you have a really cool idea, I feel like you have so much energy that you don't know how to contain it. You watch a cool show, you read a cool book, and you just want to replicate that or do something of your own that's similar to that because you were really inspired. But the truth is that when you have those rose-tinted glasses on where you're just thinking about this super cool idea, you're romanticizing how people will react to it, you forget the reality behind, oh, I actually need to develop a schedule in which I will consistently be working on this project if my full-time student position or full-time job position allows me to do so. And you have to also keep in mind that even though you feel so passionate about it right now, later down the line you will at least experience some moments where you don't feel the same and you might not want to be working on it anymore in the future. You might just not really feel as passionate about it anymore, and you're just like, shit, well now I'm stuck working on this project, but I don't even know how to bring it to completion if the feelings aren't there. Like, that's not to say that you will stop loving it. You might still like the idea, but it's just that very hot, passionate feeling when you first had that idea that won't really feel as strong later on, especially when it's sat in your brain for some time and you realize that you need to start working on it. And I myself fell into the same trap as everyone else and didn't finish the things that I said I would, and that's why back then I had all these fake animated intros. I would barely get to episode 1 of this so-called series I said I was gonna do. The most I would do is probably the intro, some parts of episode 1, and then I would be like, alright guys, I'm retiring, I'm graduating middle school and I have to go to high school, so I'm not continuing this project anymore. So that is something that I feel like you can't really blame yourself when you're young for just at least having that ambition. I think it's better to have that feeling than to not, but you know, it's all a learning experience. But there are things that you can learn when you're older that, hey, if you ever actually wanted to make a project in the future, here are ways that you can actually get your shit done instead of just always having a dream about it but never actually tackling it or executing that idea and bringing it to life. Now that I'm working at a place where I see ideas literally start from blank sheets of paper to now being on the screen, I can definitely assure you all that if you ever want to create a full-length animated series or something like that, you will definitely need the help of a team. Usually dropping that ego is something that is the first step for some people, because as artists, we always want to do things by ourselves. We always just want full ownership of our creation. But if you do want to eventually have a super ambitious idea actually come to life, parts of that idea of you just doing it all by yourself, you have to drop it a bit at least. But instead of focusing on the things that we can't complete on our own, I want to actually talk about stuff that we can complete by ourselves, because I know a lot of you who watch this are probably just students or people working full-time jobs, and I'm pretty sure that when we're talking about projects, it's just things that you would just like to complete on your own. It's a passion project while you're doing your full-time thing. And that's pretty much what my comic series, Succubishes, is for me on Instagram. And one of the things that I always emphasized when I created Succubishes was having sustainability when you're creating some long-term project. After you have that amazing idea of what you want to create, I think you need to think of a plan of how you're going to actually execute this idea and make sure that it's sustainable or something that can be a long-term thing for you. So, for example, my passion project was just an online comic series on Instagram. Yours might be similar, it might be something else, or videos on YouTube, I don't know. So for Succubishes, I knew that if I wanted to create a comic that I can keep doing for a long period of time while I have a full-time job, you have to consider what type of style you're gonna make it. You can't be doing super complex illustrations every panel. You can't have clean lines every panel. You have to come to accept some of the terms that apply when you start this project, because if you want to keep doing it forever, you can't burn yourself out by like chapter 1 or episode 1. You want to be able to still have enough energy to keep things going. So planning out an efficient style, like what is a fast style that works for you? Or how can you spend less time just searching on the color picker for the right color to fit this shading, lighting, tone, whatever. Maybe it might be to just create a color palette key, so every time you make your comic or illustration, you just go to that to select the color. Or you just always have one monochromatic color scheme going on. That's what I did with Succubishes, where I just made sure I just had one themed color. It's nothing too crazy. I don't have to think about lighting or shading, or if the shading is gonna be purple or blue, I don't know. But if you have time to do that for yours, that's great. So after you develop a plan of how you're going to efficiently execute this idea, I would say next is to think of a schedule that you can actually stick by, so you can always work on this project every week. So for example, I like to post comics just once a week and post videos once a week. So I would just break it down over the days. It's not like I just edit a video or make a comic over one day. It's just little parts of it every day that can eventually combine into a whole day of working if, you know, I didn't have work or school. So because I know a lot of you are students or working full-time jobs right now, you probably just have the morning or night after you're done with school or work, and I'm no different from that. I work in the normal day times that people work as well, so the only times I find available for me to work on my own personal projects is either early in the morning or after work is over or during my lunch breaks. And even if you think 1 hour is not enough, you would be surprised by how much you can get done in an hour if you just promise to be disciplined and just don't get distracted by stuff, because that's the one thing that makes the hour go by and you're just like, whoa, I didn't get time to even finish or do anything. Well, that's the thing, is you really have to just discipline yourself to not really getting distracted by stuff, and that can be its own discussion in a different video, but for now, just know that if you're going to get distracted, of course that hour is going to be useless. So basically what I would do is, for example, say it's Monday morning, I just line art half of a comic that I plan to post on Instagram. The day goes by, I go through work, blah blah blah, then at night I have some extra free time, then I'll just line art the remaining half of the comic. Then come Tuesday morning, it's like, okay, I wake up, I will then color maybe half of the comic. Lunchtime, I will color the remaining half. Then Tuesday night, I will just put in the text bubbles, and etc, etc. You're just breaking down a very big task into small little tasks, and I said this in one of my videos, but you can only eat an elephant by eating it piece by piece. So you have to just really break down this big idea into small manageable pieces that you can just do every day, and it doesn't kill you or suck the energy out of you. The same thing pretty much applies to my YouTube videos, where I don't film and edit and do everything in one day. It's like one Wednesday morning I will record the video, Wednesday night I'll edit half of it, Thursday morning I'll edit the remaining half, and then Thursday during lunch I'll focus on the more admin stuff and just put the info, the title, and the thumbnail, and etc. So everything is just done in little parts, and it doesn't feel as bad if you just make yourself have smaller responsibilities as opposed to some intimidating dark cloud of responsibility that's about to drop on you. And how you choose to get these things done is up to you. Some people are better off as sticky note people and just making a to-do list on them. Some people need Google Calendar. Some people like keeping a bullet journal or a very creative planner because it just is another form of relaxation, or it's a hobby to them. So for me, I like to write things down on paper as well. I like keeping a planner for myself just because I feel like when I write something with my hand and ink on paper, it's like an oath I'm making. I won't forget it because my fingers felt every stroke I made when I wrote down what I was gonna do. I feel like Google Calendar for me just feels like it's more of a shallow promise where I'm like, I just made this event, but I know I can always move it if I wanted to. If I wrote something down on pen, I'll always have to white it out again and again if I really wanted to rearrange it. The last thing I would like to say about this is, if you're going to be making a project you're going to be working on for the long term, make sure it's something that you fucking like doing, because I know a lot of people fall into the trap of just doing something that they think might be cool to others, but trust me, you're better off doing something that is fully indulgent on what it is you like, first of all. What I truly believe is that if you don't like something and you force yourself to draw it or keep working on it, it will show through your work. I feel like I can sense when other people were not passionate about something. I can sense it in myself when I wasn't passionate about about certain things, and I drew it and it just felt very forced, and it's agonizing to put yourself through that over and over again, especially for a long-term project. Okay, but even though I just said that was the last thing, this is also the other last thing I wanted to say, is that if you really find it difficult for yourself to get things done, or you feel like you can't be disciplined enough to hold yourself accountable, get someone else to hold yourself accountable. Get a friend or family member, someone to check in on you every week, every day, to just ask if you worked on your thing. And I feel like for me, it helps to know that I have people who expect me to post things on certain days of the week, because if I don't, then I'm always reminded that, oh shit, I didn't do the thing that I said I was gonna do. And even though I think, yeah, too much stress and too much anxiety is bad, but I think a little bit is sometimes needed for you to actually accomplish things. And I'm just talking about healthy stress, not the stress that is going to bring you to overkill. And eventually there might also come a day where you no longer want to work on this project, and the healthy thing to do is to know to step away from it if you find yourself forcing to work on it every day. Stepping away from the project is going to be healthier than you just forcing yourself to do something that you're no longer passionate about. And unfortunately, that was the case for all of these projects I said I was going to do when I was 12 and 13, and I think it's okay to have those ideas only exist for the times that they did, and I'm going to always be thankful that they were a part of my life and they brought me to you guys, and that's how I met some of you all. So I'll always be grateful for my old ideas, even if they did not come to fruition. I think that, you know, things happen for a reason and we all learn from it. So yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say for now. I hope this inspired or motivated some of you guys, and I mean, that's pretty much it. Please enjoy this montage of me mourning my old characters. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you all are able to get some shit done today, and I will see you all in the next one. So see you later and stay wholesome, bitches.